Hey everybody, welcome to the Scentitar channel. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. If you find that you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get updates and notifications of my most recent videos coming out Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, this video is especially for those if you're a procrastinator or if you're looking for a special gift. If you don't know much about colognes and perfumes or fragrances, you've come to the right spot. I promise you, don't go away. This is the right video for you. I made this video especially for those who want to get into fragrances or want to buy a fragrance for a family member, for a relative, for that significant other in your life. I want to make a pitch for fragrances real quick, if you'll let me. Fragrances are wonderful. They're an expression, or they can be, of ourselves, of who we are. They really can enhance the mood with everything in everyday life, especially if we have a really great time on an adventure, when we travel, when we go to new places. It can be a memory not only for them and express who they are, but it can be a memory associated with you because you gave that wonderful gift. In the fragrance world, and even if you're new to fragrances, I don't think we know or we think about very often that if we're generous, 5%, if we're extremely generous, maybe 10% of the world wears fragrances, really thinks about them or enjoys them at all. So there's a bunch of people that are missing out, and we can help them. So please join me on this adventure. Let's jump into this list. I have 3 fragrances for every single category. The categories are young men, young women, women, and men. I've kind of staged them, going youngest to more mature in each category. So I'll talk about that a little bit going forward, but you can mix this up or choose whatever you like. So let's jump into it. The first one I'm going to talk about is for young men. Young men want, of course, with any of these fragrances, mass appealing. They want to smell really good to just about everybody, a lot of the time, especially for ladies. So these fragrances are not slouches. They really do perform, so people are really going to be able to smell them, and they last. They really have great performance. So first we have Paco Rabanne Invictus. Invictus is famous for having kind of a bubblegum vibe, a blue raspberry bubblegum vibe. That's sweet, it's playful, it's kind of aquatic, and it performs. I can promise you that it really does perform very well. It's a standout fragrance, even though it doesn't get a lot of love in the fragrance communities. This is one of those that if you don't think about it too much, it really is kind of a really appealing fragrance. It smells nice in the air, it's playful. They're really going to get really good attention with that kind of fragrance, I can promise you. And even though some people might think it's tacky with the little trophy, a lot of people are going to think it's great. So let's jump to the next one. Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultramall. If you're in the fragrance community, you are no stranger to this fragrance. But if you've never heard about it, let me tell you about it. This fragrance has kind of a pear vibe. I get almost a grape vibe. So this fragrance does have a little bit of fruitiness to it, but it's still masculine. So it's really interesting, even though it's quite sweet. And it does project very well. The performance is there. So it's a really wonderful fragrance. It really does the job too. This one is a really standout fragrance. I feel like this fragrance has a pinch more maturity than Invictus. But you could buy this gift for, your nephew if you'd like. It's a great fragrance. He's going to be rocking. So next one is Versace's Dylan Blue. Now this fragrance resembles and is very close to Dior Sauvage. Just about everybody knows it. A lot of people have worn it. You might own it yourself. But Dylan Blue, even though it doesn't have as good projection, meaning people won't smell you kind of far away as much, it seems to have better sillage in my opinion, and the performance is definitely respectable. But what really shines is the smell. It kind of gets that DNA of Sauvage, kind of kicks it up with really interesting notes of papyrus and patchouli. It feels deeper, more complex, almost a little bit of richness. So this fragrance, in my opinion, is a great one. It's a real showstopper. It never fails to get me positive attention, compliments, and attention from ladies. So let's jump to young ladies. These fragrances, just like for the young men, are going to be mass appealing, and the prices for them are just right, and they're really good fragrances. You really can't beat these. A prime example of that is Britney Spears' Fantasy. Even though the fragrance it's a celebrity fragrance, you know, connected to somebody that you might not feel is particularly important in your life, and you might be, you know, think, oh, a fragrance by a celebrity or somebody like that, it doesn't matter. But the fragrance really has stood the test of time. It has been a great fragrance for ladies just getting into fragrances, and it really can't be beat for the price for a gift for a young lady. It's sweet, floral, playful. It just has the right amount of you know, liveliness, loveliness that a young lady would love. So can't talk about enough good about it. Can't say enough good about Britney Spears, you know, Fantasy, except for the young lady. The next one is Jessica Simpson's Fancy. Now this fragrance does smell a little bit fancy, but it has kind of a soft, delicate nature to it. It's more of an aromatic or kind of a flowy fragrance. So it's not fruity. It doesn't really smell like flowers or fruit like Britney Spears' Fantasy did. But this one just smells kind of rich, kind of playful, kind of soft. It's still womanly. It still has a little bit of a kind of a sweetness and a small touch of fruit. But can't say enough good about this fragrance. For a fragrance that can be found $30 or below, I find that it's an outstanding fragrance, and it definitely is easy to wear for the young lady. So let's jump to Mon Guerlain by Guerlain. So this fragrance is wonderful. It's not getting a lot of love in the fragrance community because it is a really mass appealing fragrance. It doesn't have particularly a lot of uniqueness that stands out to picky fragrance people. But if you're new to fragrances, and if you just give this fragrance a chance, it does smell really good. The fragrance could have a little bit better performance, but it's just a winner overall. It has kind of a womanly DNA, a really good DNA, but then it has a little bit more of a serious, maybe a seductive vibe underneath. It has almost like a cranberry vibe for me personally. So Mon Guerlain is a winner. I really think people should give it a chance if you're looking for an everyday, casual kind of fragrance. It's a really good fragrance for the young woman or the young lady, I can assure you. So let's jump to women. Let's give them another chance at the spotlight before we get to the men. So Dior Poison Girl is up first on the list for the woman. Even though it says Dior Poison Girl, I feel like this fragrance still is a really good womanly fragrance. It doesn't have to be just for women. It could be great for young women as well. But this one has really interesting notes, deeper notes. It still has a little bit of playfulness, a little bit of a womanly vibe with fruitiness. But it just has a little bit more depth. It has a little bit more of like a syrupy nature and definitely a seductive nature. So this fragrance is really good. It has performance too. So can't talk enough good about it. The next one is Mugler Angel Muse. So Angel Muse definitely has that womanly DNA, that mass appealing DNA that we're looking for. But it has a gourmand kind of touch and a character to it. I I still feel like this fragrance is really good, not only because of its smell and performance, but it's a gourmand. A fragrance that smells kind of foody, but it can be worn in everyday situations. So that's a great thing. If you're a chocolate lover, if you love vanilla and those kinds of things, this is a really great fragrance. It has a good amount of sweetness. It's not overbearing, and I really encourage you to get your nose on it. And again, this is one for the quality and for what it is. The price is just right. So we're going to get to Chanel's Coco Mademoiselle. I pulled off saying that. So Coco Mademoiselle is a great fragrance. It kind of takes that Chanel No. 5 vibe, kind of strips away the yellow florals, kind of tones it down. And then you have some interesting cocoa vibe. I feel even though the cocoa's tamed, it's not bitter and it's not raw. I still feel like it's a little bit dry, but this fragrance is floral, and boy is it classy. So this fragrance is a standout fragrance. It does perform, and even though in some circles in some cities it can be played out, too many people may have it, this fragrance is great. It's classy, it's going to be respected, it's going to be a fragrance that you can pull off, or the lady, you know, you're gifting these fragrances to, she can pull it off anytime, anywhere. So that's amazing when a fragrance has that universal appeal. Just like all these fragrances, that's what these are all about. So for a man, let's jump into it. We're at the end, the long haul. So this is the first one, Bleu de Chanel EDP. Guys, you know about it. I probably don't need to say much about it. This is a fragrance that has the blue vibe. So it smells kind of like the ocean, but it's kind of dense. It's kind of a cold vibe, but it's very mass appealing. It's very manly, and women just seem to love it and be pulled, you know, attracted to it time after time. It's hard to love. I mean, it's hard to dislike, easy to love. So Bleu de Chanel EDP, real winner every time. So the next one is Acqua di Gio Profumo. Now this one has award-winning, you know, standout DNA as well. Everybody just about knows of Acqua di Gio, but Profumo is deeper. It's not darker, but it definitely has a little bit more of depth, a little bit more of not darkness, and not richness really, but kind of like a denseness. And that makes this fragrance, you know, perform. It makes it more business appropriate. I feel like this is a welcome addition to the Acqua di Gio family. So Acqua di Gio Profumo is a winner. It lasts, it has good performance, very good for a businessman. Can't say enough good about this fragrance as well. It would be a welcome addition to probably any man's collection, especially if he has very few fragrances. So let's jump into the last one. If you know fragrances, this is not going to shock you at all. This is YSL L'Enduit de l'Homme. L'Enduit de l'Homme is known in the fragrance community as a lady killer fragrance, sometimes with more less tasteful names. But L'Enduit de l'Homme is a great date fragrance. If you want it, you know, buy a fragrance for your Netflix and chill, for your get-togethers. If you want your man to smell unbelievable when you're close to him, this fragrance is great. It doesn't have the performance to stand out, you know, in social situations really. It's not going to stand out in parties. But if you're looking for your cuddle fragrance, if you're looking for, you know, a snuggle fragrance for this winter, or for a gift for your significant other, or for a man who could use a fragrance like that, this fragrance is still a winner. So I still encourage it. And that's really all I have to say about it. So guys and gals, I want to thank you so much for watching this video, being here at the Scentitar channel. It means so much to me. If you've liked this material, please please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to do a better job every time for you. And comment what you liked about this video. If you love any of these fragrances, if you're going to buy any of them. I highly recommend them all. So I'll be seeing y'all next time on the Scentitar channel. Bye.